6:32. I call this meeting to order, and I need a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of litigation.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And a roll call vote. Mr. Ryder, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Wellman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Mr. Feely, the floor. Okay, time being 7:03, our regular session is order. Could everybody please stand for a pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda is Giovanni's of Tewksbury LLC Common Vic License, change of ownership. Is anyone here for that?
Yes.
Could you please come up to the desk, sit down, and introduce yourself for the record?
Excuse me, sir, but I have a question. Is this license for under my cousin, like Ramanveer Sen?
Are
But
you representing him?
no, that's why he's not coming, so he sent to me.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Your name for the record? Name and address.
LLC? Sorry, sir?
Your name and address for the record.
Oh, my name is Saranjit Singh Kapoor, and my address 20 Manley Line, Arlington.
Okay. All right, this is a common vic license. Has everybody had a chance to review the information in the application provided? It's got 4 seats, 3 employees, and 1,200 square feet. And basically, it says a renewal. It doesn't say change of ownership, but any questions on the application? Mr. Kratman?
Yeah, I just have one. So it's a change of ownership, right? There's
Yes.
new owners. Are any of the ex-employees continue to work there, or is it a whole new staff?
No, same staff, sir.
Same staff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so everybody's just, somebody just bought in, it's the same staff that's
Same
running it?
staff, everything.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you very much.
You are.
Ms. Wellman?
I have no questions.
Mr. Ryder?
I have no questions.
I have one question. It says the number of seats is 4, but according to your little pictures that you drew, you did a very nice job at it, by the way. It says table, 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 table. There's 5 tables with 4 chairs. Are there 4 seats or 20 seats?
Right now, it's just only 4 seats.
It's only 4 seats?
Yes.
Okay. That's the
not
only
4
question I
tables.
have.
Okay.
Ms. Wellman, do you have another question?
No, I'm just looking for clarification. That's fine.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board?
I'd make a motion to approve the common vic license change of ownership for Giovanni's of Tewksbury LLC.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Kraft and second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes aye as well. That's a 4-0 vote. And just for the record, Mr. Mackey is not in attendance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, now we're on to,
You're good. You don't have to stay.
Thank you.
We should make it just,
7:05 Soldier On funding request. Is there anyone here for that? Can you step up to the mic, introduce yourself for the record?
Bruce Buckley. Peter Graham.
Okay. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Right. So we submitted a request for an additional $450,000 from the Tewksbury Affordable Housing Trust Fund. This is the same, basically no difference from the request back in 2022. So the project, as everyone can see, is moving along nicely. They put the windows in this week and the 4th floor and all. But from the beginning, we were facing significant cost increases. And those, as is everybody in the construction business and in inflation in general. So what we've done is back in 2022, when we made our request, and we were graciously provided some additional funds, bringing the total from the town to $500,000. we did have to make a balanced budget, so we cut solar out of the deal, we cut a variety of other things to put, what I really did is I put a lot of things from the construction contingency line into the owner's contingency, which has now been depleted. So we've gone through all of that. We've, as I provided in the budget, the latest update, we moved a lot of costs out of furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which is money that was in the budget to get beds, bureaus, all the stuff that we set the veterans up with. We pulled the money out of that to pay for these cost changes. So what this is essentially the ask to, at that 450,000, which would bring the deal for the town to $950,000, which is a lot of money, which is basically about $45,000 per affordable unit for, as far as a commitment from the fund, from the trust fund. That is, on average, what the trust fund has given other projects in town, $45,000 per affordable unit. So, I provided a lot of information. I don't know if you have any questions, and if Bruce wants to say anything, but, we're in a, we did come into a project that the soil conditions were definitely not in our favor, and we kept finding that out as time went on. We had an active beaver that through the active beaver dam and a very unfortunate wet season last winter and spring meant that we had water on the site that created, some additional costs that had it been a dry season or had the beaver not been there, we would not have had to put in sheet piles and a variety of other stabilization stuff to satisfy the engineers. But that is where we're at.
Anything to add?
I would just like to add that, obviously it was an expensive project, I guess, and then it became more expensive because of the site and then the cost increases and all of that. And that when we run a project, and this is our 10th project, we've got more in line, we provide a lot of service. And that service, we squeeze out of the budget of what we operate this on. So our larger buildings, 50 units, 70 units, we don't generally have debt. So if this one's going to have a mortgage, that mortgage would increase, and all the money that we get from the building goes back into the building. Because 21 units with food, with transportation, with case management, with legal support, and I could keep rattling off what we do, it's difficult to pay a mortgage because we're already doing a lot of those services out of the rents, and then we'll end up putting money in to run this building. So we have a 14-unit building in Pittsfield that we have to subsidize every year, and this would fall into the general same area. So I just want to kind of paint the picture of what this looks like as we, I'm thinking more of after we open it, after the veterans are living there, and how we're going to run it. Because we don't give one building a different level of service and support than the other building. So we have one model. Some work themselves financially, others we have to subsidize. So the mortgage is already going to be something that we deal with, and we don't always have that in a building, and it will just get bigger as part of this. So again, I know it's a lot of money. We really appreciate it. The town's been very supportive, and I think it's going to be money that stays in the town with the affordable housing that we bring. And we've already I checked, we have 5 individuals, and this is early, because you hate to get a list going too early, that have already signed up or interested in signing up, 3 of which are over 55, I think they're over 60. So I think, another vision that this is, it's a resource that would maybe free up other units in town. So a veteran who's living in senior housing, if they choose this because of all the services, would free up units in other senior housing in town. So all of that's what we see when we do these buildings. So I just want to kind of paint a picture that shows, what we see after we open the building and after it's running.
Okay, Mr. Kratman, any questions?
I do. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in front of us again. If this building was built tomorrow, how quickly is it going to be filled?
Again, these are other buildings, but we're going to see the same thing here. It would fill, if the process was quick enough, I'm pretty confident that it would be full day one. We opened a 70-unit building in New Jersey 2.5 years ago. We had a waiting list of 200 people for 70 units. So that's what I'm anticipating. Later in the month, we're starting monthly meetings here in town with Lisa, the Veteran Service Officer, and we're going to be reaching out to the town. Is it Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please sit down.
Lisa Downey, yeah. Sorry. So I think, we're going to start building the list, and we have nothing but full buildings. We've got about 400 units around the Northeast, and we have a waiting list on all the buildings. So I anticipate it would be full day one if the process was fast enough.
Well, I recently had a conversation with our veterans in town and our veterans agent, talking about this project and how supportive they are of this project. And then you get additional information, which I wasn't aware of, about some of the things that are happening in our community, where we have veterans that right now that are living in motels in our community because there's no room in the senior housing. They're on a list. They're veterans. They're waiting to get into a location. There is no availability for them to get in, and some are at Motel 6, some are at the other motels, and they're waiting to find a location to get into. I've said from the get-go, $45,000 investment to house our veterans is a great investment, as far as I'm concerned. I think also, it would be a great investment for any development, because it raises our cap of what we're doing, and we make investments in other developments, and when there's an available unit and we make an investment, we go out and we do that to try to get over our 10% affordable housing and all this. This is going directly to veterans. I can't imagine spending $45,000 on a veteran, a better use for this money. This isn't something that the taxpayers put aside, it isn't something like this. This is money that came to us from developers that paid fee in lieu of for building affordable housing. And so this money is set aside specifically to help build affordable housing. We have an opportunity to build affordable housing for veterans who defended our country. I can't imagine a better use for it. I've been saying this from right go, so you know my opinion on this, but I'll listen to the rest of our board.
Ms. Wellman?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see you here again. I appreciate the complete financial documents that you sent us, so I looked through those. Can you tell me what the size of your mortgage is going to be on this property?
Yes, 950,000. And so we are working with Berkshire Bank, which has a local branch, and we've done other work with Berkshire Bank, and more importantly, Berkshire Bank as a partner, we applied for and received $650,000 from the Federal Home Loan Bank.
Yeah.
So,
No, they're a good partner, I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So you're planning to carry a $950,000 mortgage today?
that's right, that is,
If you were not to receive an additional $500,000, you're anticipating a $950,000 mortgage. If you received an additional $500,000, would that change your mortgage or not?
that would not change our mortgage at
Okay.
this point, right? We did have originally an $800,000 mortgage, and we bumped it up as well as bumped up the development fee to the project by another $145,000 to $415,000. So more, if all things worked perfectly and we didn't hit COVID and cost increases, the developer fee line of 415 wouldn't be in the deal, nor would the 800 be in the deal for a mortgage.
So the $500,000 that you're seeking will go to what?
So the 500,000 that we're seeking right here would go to actually fund the contingency that, we had the cost overruns. It would fund the solar panels, which we dropped from the project. It would replenish the FF&E line, which is what pays for the beds and
No, I know what
furniture and all
FF&E
that,
is, yeah.
right? So it basically, I believe I shared with you all one of the latest requisition forms, which is the current running budget, and you can see where I pulled from other lines to fill the cost overruns. And so that would basically replenish that, and yes, we would then add, we would add additional monies for the clerk of the works line. I have shown a couple of spots where it had to be added for the continued, length of time that we're in the project.
Okay.
And I can provide a much more detail. I mean, there is absolutely nothing, nothing that I won't share.
I understand, and I appreciate that. I thank you very much for that. I saw the solar panels in the project. You don't have a net zero building. Are you
In this
doing
day and-
air source heat pumps? What do you do?
Yeah, we are. We're using air. So what, one of the project costs is the code changes. So there's building code and then there's energy code.
Yep.
And then there's building affordable housing in Massachusetts, which the state wants you to have the greenest of green.
Right, and we have stretch energy
Right,
code.
stretch and all that. Well, so the building code did throw a lot of people for a loop. Even if you saw it coming, by the time it hit and everybody dug in, we've got to do EV chargers at the site. So we do have, we are actually using natural gas to create the water heat, because water heat creation through electricity
No, it's
is
crazy
not
expensive.
yet up to engineering, even though the state and everybody wants you to be all electric. The reality is it's inefficient for a production sake.
I agree.
So we did stay, we got in under the radar of the new requirement to be all electric, so.
Okay.
And I'm sure you understand this, but, the savings from the solar goes back into the services of
Into
the
the
building.
operating,
So
yeah,
it really stays there, and any developer fee that we do have doesn't come out. It'll be there to fund the services that
Yep.
stay there. So, that's the model. I just want you, so you're aware, this isn't really how we pay our operating cost of Soldier-On. This is sort of a self-contained financial entity that just stays within itself, is where.
Each building is its own.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. It is its own, single-purpose entity that is audited, and the state, of course, wants to see cost certifications for
Yep.
every dime
Oh, yeah.
spent.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And again, I probably said this, but, all the services aren't generally what a landlord provides to their tenants. They don't provide dinner, they don't provide transportation, they don't provide, but the rent is fixed by the state, and it's the same rent that any other landlord gets.
So operationally, if we approved your additional request, is that a lump sum payment from the Affordable Housing Trust, or is that something you would invoice against the trust?
No, it would invoice it. So it's perfect question. So every source and use in this development, which as you can see in this current budget that I have column A, the total development costs, all told, is 9.7 million,
Yep.
okay? And what is confusing sometimes on this is we have a construction loan which gets paid back, but we have a perm loan of the same amount. So it's in there twice on the sources, you'll see. So there's a $10 million project, but then you pay back the yada, yada. So anyway, the 9.7 million and all of the costs that would be taking that up, which this additional request is part of, that would all be invoiced against. We'd have invoices to show where that money went. And just like, I provided to Steve and Richard the drawdown for the first two tranches, it goes directly to bricks and mortar, basically. It's not operating.
Right. Okay. So In the past, I supported the first rounds of funding that we gave you. I didn't support an excess at the time because I think that we had funded any of your, Tewksbury's Affordable Housing Trust funded more project than any other town had ever contributed to a project in their town. And I'm particularly interested in seeing affordable housing funds go to general housing. That is not to say that your mission is not valuable and important. What I do want to say is that I appreciate that you brought this before us today, and you have been resilient in your processing and your work, and I'm very excited to see it happen. So my temperature has changed, so to speak, and so I would be in favor of this motion. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ryder?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's 450,000, not 500. I just want to
Right.
clarify. I know you were talking.
We already gave
Yes.
them 500,
Okay.
450, you're correct, thank you.
Just want to
Yes, that's
clarify.
right. Yeah.
Obviously, any vertical construction, you're out of the ground. Your biggest
Unknowns,
unknowns are,
Yeah,
should be
unknown.
behind you at this point.
that's right.
Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball. Do you predict anything? Obviously,
Yeah, I've got that here.
And
I
again-
got lots of predictions. No, some are very solid. So and I believe I shared this as well, the contract tracking worksheet, which has a tab called PCO list. And so this includes all of the change orders to date, which amount to a total of, and while I say change orders, some of these were anticipated, but they weren't part of the original contract sum that went to the state 2.5 years ago. So so it was 594,000. Right now, the total anticipated changes is 709. So there is, whatever the difference of that math is, about 110,000 of remaining known things like the bike enclosure, putting power to the bike enclosure and shed for charging, which again is a requirement now for the state to have covered bike storage. I will be needing to go back in front of the Concom to make sure that the additional 10 by 10 area of concrete in the zone is okay. But then we have a security system that we just put an allowance next to, but didn't count it, so that is going to be spent. Landscaping and planting, there's a allowance for a BDA system, which is the police and fire radio that many times you don't need, but you have to kind of plan for it. So
you
that's.
won't know that. You got to wait till the walls are
Till
up.
the walls are up,
Yeah.
right. So these are some of that, to your point. The unknowns are behind us. The unknowns were things like winter conditions, the EV chargers, things that came up on us.
Okay. Again, I think, I sat on the planning board and I was an advocate about having affordable units. To echo what Mr. Kratman stated, this money is sitting in there, given to us by developers that ultimately paid to not have to have an affordable unit in there. $45,000 for a veteran. I would love it be veteran from Tewksbury. I understand that. But at the end of the day, when these individuals are joining the service, they're not asking if you're from Tewksbury or Borica or Andover or the Merrimack Valley to, serve our country. So, the amount of money we have in our affordable trust fund, just under $7 million, is something that, one, we can afford to do. And, I think this is a move in the right direction. They will be Tewksbury residents, it's soon to be Tewksbury residents and involved in our community. And not only whether they're working, you guys are working with the residents there, they may get involved with the other veterans that may not get picked to go into that unit. But I also like the fact that there's a chance for those individuals that are currently in our affordable housing at the senior housing that can transition over, and then that opens it up for Tewksbury residents.
That's right.
So there's a potential that it's a win there as well. So again, I think this is, I support this. I just want to make sure that, you know, is 450 going to get you to the finish line? Is there something, again, in construction, have you already gone through the, as I go through the process, as we get to about 50% into a construction, you know, you're probably about 65% at this point.
Right.
Have you gone through your list of things that when you get down to it, what can I forego versus what I'm required to do and
Right.
get to that point? Solar, you know.
Well, that's why it's in this, right?
The roof, everything's there for it, your
That's right.
electrical system's all been done, but kind of pull that trigger when you get to the 80, 90% mark, you know, it has to be furnished. So again, furnishings, the FF&E is critical.
Right.
Solar is a great want.
Right.
But, you know, I just want to make sure you go through that, that exercise to get to the point that when you get there, you can say, you know, you might have to give up a few shrubs.
Right.
Versus making sure you get to the finish line to get these veterans in there. But
Well, that's
again, I
exactly
support
right.
it.
That's where we're at.
Good.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think it's a great, I was at your event. I learned a lot about it. Learned a lot, not knowing, did a little bit of research, but learning about what the organization does once they're living there. Kind of, you know, it's a continual operation. So looking forward to it coming to town. And can't wait to see it when it's all done. Thank you.
You will.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for this package, too. I only have a couple of comments, and my comments are going to be, where even Mr. Buckley had stated that the town was very generous, giving you the $500,000 originally, and now you're requesting $450,000, but that $450,000 is 33% of the 16% increase, and that's the highest one on your list here. Your foundation is 1%. The equity development is 11%. The only one close to us is the
Yeah, I think,
HHG.
right.
So why
Why is that? Yeah, I
why
can tell
is the
you.
town,
Well, we went through this 2 years ago. So we raised, when we were first hitting giant upticks in construction, I don't have the numbers necessarily right in front of me, but we went out and got 2.1 million from the state, another 250,000 from the state, another, HHG came in with another 250. So we went through that where we basically didn't get this ask from the town and filled it in with our foundation money, which at that time, it wasn't just a 1% uptick, it was a much larger uptick. So it's a picture in time question that you're asking.
right,
So we filled lots of gaps. If in fact, you know, in the grand scheme, if my numbers are updated correctly, there's, you know, 9.7% of the overall project is local funding from the town. That is a great contribution. That's 9.7% of 9.7 million. So a lot of the other that's what we brought to the table. That's what we're bringing to the town, to the veterans, is leveraging all that other funding.
I just think $450,000 is a big ask. I wish it was smaller, and we weren't at the 33% of the increase. That's basically all I have. So I'm going to go back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the $450,000 funding request out of our Affordable Trust Fund.
I would like to second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Crappen to approve the funding of $450,000, seconded by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair is going to vote no, so that's going to be 3-1, and congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. we look forward to the, opening this and spending more time and meeting the veterans that live there. So we become part of the community, we don't just build a building, and we've tried, I think really to become a part of the community as best we can so far, so.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
you.
For our folks at home who are reading this in the newspaper in the coming days, if they have a relative who they would like to apply to this program, or they want to apply themselves, they should contact Lisa Downey.
They can contact Lisa Downey.
Okay.
There is I should have brought them, they can contact me, and my information should be all over these packets, but
Let's just say
directly.
it out loud, yeah.
Yep, it's Peter Graham at Soldier On, and so that's P. Graham, Graham,
Thank you.
at wesoldieron.org. And there's a whole team of lease-up folks that will be able to assist folks in applying. I have taken many calls from folks in Tewksbury and out of Tewksbury looking for information, and we'll get them on the list. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, because the reality is we have a lot of people looking for affordable housing in Massachusetts right now.
That's the truth.
And then we have a meeting that Lisa Downing could tell you about, but, well, it's May 29th at the Senior Center. I'm pretty sure that's the date, but let me confirm it. Yeah, Wednesday, May 29th at 10 a.m. at the Senior Center. We'll have staff there. Lisa Downey will be there, and we'll begin taking applications and taking in the folks who are interested. And then we have a meeting, I won't read them all off, but we have June, July, August, and then we'll have more after that. So we've got 2 in July, 2 in August, and 1 in June, and then 1 May 29th.
Are those meeting dates on your website?
If
How
they're
would
not,
someone
I'll
find
make
out?
sure they get on there.
Just so.
I just
we can
got
get
this
that
today.
Public information, that's great, okay, thank you.
And we'll be at the Taste of Tewksbury tomorrow.
We'll have, yeah, I won't be there, I don't think, but we'll have a table
Soldier
at the
On.
Taste of Tewksbury from Soldier On, so.
See you there.
Okay,
Great.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have, yeah.
No, you good? I was just gonna say, residents can also reach out to Tewksbury Home Build as a partner. We forwarded requests to Soldier On as well.
Okay, great, Tewksbury Home Build, just
.org.
thank
We're
you.
on Facebook as well.
Okay, we have residents. Any residents willing to speak or need to speak? Seeing none. New business. Anybody have any new business? There's nothing on the agenda, but I'll open it up to the board.
I have something that I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
So, Mr. Montori, we've had a discussion, I brought it up a couple of times, the concern with Tewksbury State Hospital, that there seems to be some concern with the safety of nurses, with the safety of our community, of people. It seems like the hospital is, at this time, is getting overburdened with the residents that are there, the people that are hospitalized, the patients, and the number of staff that's handling them. And the security is definitely a concern. I've asked a couple of times to have a meeting with Tewksbury State Hospital, and I would like to ask that again. I would like to make sure that we sit down with that. I have concerns for our community that it just seems to be something that's growing, that it seems like people are getting off the site. I've heard different stories of they're not part of this, they're part of another program, but somebody is, I need to get the answer. Who's allowing these other programs to be run up there? Somebody must be allowing people to lease or use the property, and who has the final say if somebody is up there that may be a dangerous person to our community, and how do we ensure the safety of our residents? All of the entrances and exits of that property, either let out at our library, our senior center, or Livingston Street Ballpark. That's a major concern for me, where everybody's going to be going off the land. So I would like to ask the town manager once again to see if we could set up a meeting with them to get some answers. I just would like to have a conversation with them to see how they're doing. I know our police department, our fire department has had conversations. I know we get a lot of calls up there. That's another conversation we can have with them, but the safety concern, especially when kids are getting out of school very shortly, I want to make sure that the place that we're sending our children to go play is safe. So I just want to have a conversation with them to see if we can find out what they're doing to make sure that happens.
Just quickly, do you want it to be the entire, at a meeting of the board, or the vice chair or the chair? How do you want to set this up?
I'd like to be there if possible, you know, and if,
I think the entire board should be there. because
So
the
bring them
entire
into a
board would
meeting?
have the comments.
Okay.
Richie, can we, I mean, through you, Mr. Chair, you know, I know we had discussions about the water usage, you know, maybe we could couple that meeting all at the same time, kind of hit all those
Sure.
points? If we
Sure, I
can
mean,
have all that.
it's two different groups handling the.
Is there?
water.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, you know, I was just trying
Yeah.
to see if we could,
So I can invite the executive director to come in to talk about the safety concerns. The water connection, you know, we're moving along, we have an MOA, we're, you know, going to begin design. We have a $1.9 million grant to do the connection, so that's been handled separate.
Okay.
But I can have Amy Dumont try to schedule her for one of the next meetings.
okay.
Well, when you have the executive director, can we also have the head of security too? I don't know if there is a head of security.
Yeah, I don't even know if there is one.
I heard they
leave
were, didn't they were retiring?
I think there's, I'm not sure if there is one. What I would probably ask her to do is see if someone from one of the executive offices, either public health or someone from public safety to come in with the executive director, so.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
One of the other concerns I just want to bring up is that the nurses recently just had a picketing out in front of there the other day, and I stopped by to see what their concerns were, because they were saying Tewksbury is unsafe. So I immediately asked them the questions. They were telling me some pretty significant horror stories. I don't know if they're true, like I said, but we're only hearing one side of the story. But when you have nurses saying they're fearful to go to work, and that the security isn't taking care of the nurses, how can I have any comfort level that the residents and the patients that are there are safe if the nurses aren't safe? They can't take care of people if they're feeling unsafe. And this, I know we have limited power of what we can do over a state hospital, but we certainly can ask, how can they ensure that the residents are safe in our community? So that's, I'd like to see this meeting sooner than later.
Yeah, we'll try to do it for June.
Thank you.
Okay, we're done with new business. Town manager.
I don't have anything except town council invoices.
Okay,
So we do have well, the first one for April 1st through April 15th, we have a revised invoice
Yeah.
in the amount of $3,017.50, and I would recommend approval.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
okay, there was motion made by Ms. Wellman, second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. That's unanimous.
And then a second invoice from April 16th through April 30th in the amount of $3,315, and I would recommend approval.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, that's a motion made by Ms. Wellman to approve, second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. That's unanimous.
That's all I have.
Okay, now we're down to minutes. Mr. Ryder.
Yes, Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the minutes of April 9th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Ryder to approve the minutes of April 9, second by Ms. Wellman. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. That is unanimous. Okay, board member reports. We have any board member reports?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll be reaching out to planning office to hold an economic development meeting within the next few weeks. So like to get that on the schedule to see if we can get some more activity, potential to maybe get some new members into that and see if we can get that
Owen again?
flowing again, get some more excitement bring some different ideas and see if we can start to bring in some businesses to help offset the residential tax. So that's going to be, in the next couple of weeks, I'll get that going and get a meeting scheduled.
All right, thank you for that.
Just a comment on that. What I would suggest is also reaching out. We have a representative on the planning board, and we have a representative on the economic development. They haven't been at any of these meetings, so they may not know that we're revitalizing this committee. So I would suggest you reach out to them to see if they may have somebody new on the board.
Sure,
So
okay.
you may want to find out who they have, and maybe they can help with that process.
Thank you.
Ms. Wellman, do you have anything?
Yeah, just really briefly, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee is meeting on Thursday, and among other things, we're planning our Pride Picnic on June 2nd. We are taking requests to participate and table. We will have music, we'll have live music and food trucks on the Common from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a family-friendly event, and we're working on some Juneteenth materials and our fall events that we're planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kratman.
The LRTA, we don't meet to the end of the month, but I would like to mention that the Wilmington Tewksbury Chamber is having the Taste of the Town tomorrow night. The money that's raised by that goes to scholarships in our community, so I'd invite the residents in both towns to come and join us as a bunch of restaurants will be supplying different foods. Could we get a couple of new restaurants that are going to be joining us, which would be exciting? We saw some of the menu items, so it looks like there's going to be quite a bit of different types of food. It'll be something that's going well. So I invite everybody to that. And then we have the Memorial Day ceremony and service in the Memorial Day Parade that will take place on Memorial Day. The Memorial Day services will take place at 10 o'clock, as usual, down at the cemetery. Lisa Ryder I talked to her today. She's finalizing her program. I'll be working with the Patriotic Committee to finalize our program, and we hope to have it up on the website by the end of the week. So we'll have information, but the memorial service is at 10, and the parade begins at 11 at Town Hall. So residents look forward to it once again. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kratman. I only have one thing. I just want to give a shout out to the town clerk and the town moderator for getting us through town meeting, which they did, and they did a fantastic job. So thank you, and that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion adjourned made by Ms. Wellman, second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We are now adjourned.